Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when everything feels uncertain, when doors close, when challenges seem relentless, and when the path ahead is unclear. But what if I told you that in those very moments, God is preparing you for something greater? What if the obstacles, the setbacks, and even the silence are not signs of failure, but of transformation? You see, when God has a bigger purpose for you, He doesn't just place it in your hands, He prepares your mind, your heart, and your spirit to receive it. He stretches you, refines you, and pushes you beyond your limits so that you can step into a destiny far greater than you imagined. Today, I want to show you how to recognize that preparation, how to trust the process, and how to align yourself with the power that is shaping your future. Because when you surrender to the journey, you don't just change your life, you become the person you were always meant to be. When God is preparing you for something greater, He often begins by disrupting your comfort. What once felt stable, predictable, and secure may suddenly shift. The relationships you relied on might change, the job you counted on might no longer fulfill you, or the plans you carefully crafted might start to unravel. In these moments, it can feel like everything is falling apart, but in reality, everything is falling into place. Discomfort is often the first sign that a transformation is taking place. The human mind craves familiarity because it equates the known with safety. However, spiritual growth does not happen within the confines of comfort. Growth requires stretching, breaking, and rebuilding. When you find yourself in situations that force you out of your usual patterns, recognize that God is positioning you for something far greater than you can currently see. People often mistake divine disruption for punishment or misfortune, but it is neither. It is preparation. Look at any great leader, visionary, or individual who has walked a path of purpose, and you will see a common pattern before they stepped into their calling. They were challenged in ways that forced them to evolve. These challenges are not designed to break you, but to build you. They remove the limitations that keep you stuck in one version of yourself, preparing you for the magnitude of what lies ahead. God knows that if you remain in a space that does not challenge you, you will never reach your full potential. That is why He removes you from situations that no longer serve your growth. He will close doors you are afraid to walk away from, not to leave you empty-handed, but to make space for what is truly meant for you. He will place you in situations that stretch your patience, test your resilience, and demand more from you than you believed you had to give. During these moments, the mind will resist. It will question why things are changing, why the old ways no longer work, and why the familiar is slipping away. This is the discomfort of transformation. The challenge is not to resist, but to surrender. To trust that even when the path is unclear, there is a higher intelligence at work, orchestrating everything for your highest good. There is a reason why people who settle into comfort often feel an inner restlessness. That feeling of something missing, that quiet whisper telling you there is more, is not your imagination, it is divine guidance. It is a signal that you were not created to remain where you are, but to grow into something greater. Yet, growth does not come without discomfort. Think of a seed planted in the ground. At first, it is buried in darkness, isolated from the world above. It does not see the sun, nor does it feel the fresh air. But beneath the surface, it is breaking open, sending roots deep into the earth to establish its foundation. That breaking is necessary. If the seed resisted, if it remained intact and refused to change, it would never become the tree it was destined to be. The same principle applies to your life. When God is preparing you, He will uproot the things that no longer serve your purpose. He will strip away what is holding you back, even when you do not yet understand why. He will allow discomfort to push you forward because He knows that if you stay where you are, you will never reach the destiny He has designed for you. In these moments of transition, fear may try to convince you to hold on to what is familiar. The mind clings to the past because it is known, even when it is no longer serving you. But trust that when God moves you, He is not asking you to lose, He is asking you to expand. He is shifting your environment, stretching your capacity, and preparing you for a version of yourself that you have not yet met. Some of the greatest breakthroughs come after seasons of uncertainty. The relationships that end, the opportunities that slip away, and the plans that fall apart are all part of a greater design. What feels like loss is often redirection. The very thing you are clinging to may be the thing that is limiting you. And when you allow yourself to release it, you create the space for something far greater to enter. Most people resist change because they fear the unknown, but faith requires stepping forward even when you cannot see the outcome. God does not show you the entire plan at once because growth happens in the journey, not just the destination. Every moment of discomfort is an opportunity to trust that He is guiding you. Every unexpected shift is a reminder that there is a purpose greater than what you can currently see. When you feel the pull of something greater, do not ignore it. When everything around you begins to change, do not fight it. You are not being abandoned, you are being prepared. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. The discomfort is temporary, but the purpose is eternal. When God disrupts your comfort, He is not taking something from you, He is calling you to step into something far greater than you ever imagined. Challenges are often misunderstood. Most people see them as obstacles, as signs that they are on the wrong path, or as reasons to retreat. But what if challenges were not meant to stop you, but to shape you? What if every difficulty, every setback, every moment of struggle was actually training your mind, your spirit, and your character for something greater? This is the shift in perception that separates those who stay stagnant from those who rise into their divine purpose. God does not place challenges in your life to break you. He allows them to strengthen you. When you face resistance, it is not because you are weak or unworthy. It is because you are being prepared for a version of yourself that requires a deeper level of resilience. Resistance is not rejection, it is refinement. The pressure you feel is molding you, stretching you, and equipping you for what is to come. Without it, you would remain the same. Look at any great figure in history, anyone who has achieved something meaningful, and you will see the same pattern before they stepped into their calling. They faced adversity that tested them beyond what they thought they could handle. This is not a coincidence. The weight of responsibility requires the strength to carry it. The greater the purpose, the greater the preparation. If you are being tested, it is because there is something powerful on the other side of that test. When God is training you for something greater, He will not give you an easy path. He will place you in situations that force you to rely on faith over fear. He will take you through seasons where nothing makes sense, where plans fall apart, and where doors close, not because you are failing, but because you are being prepared. You may not understand it in the moment, but trust that every challenge is designed to refine you, not defeat you. Think of an athlete preparing for a championship. They do not train in comfort. They push their bodies to the limit, they experience exhaustion, they endure pain, and they break past their old limitations. Why? Because they know that the discomfort of training is what makes them stronger. Without resistance, there is no growth. Without challenge, there is no preparation. Your spirit works the same way. God will not place you in a battle you are not equipped for, but He will allow you to go through training so that when the moment comes, you are ready. Growth does not happen in ease. It happens in the moments when you are stretched beyond what you think you can bear. It happens when you are forced to dig deeper, to push forward when everything in you wants to give up. It happens when you learn to rely on faith, not just in moments of clarity, but in moments of uncertainty. Many people pray for strength, but they resist the process that builds it. They want wisdom, but reject the experiences that teach it. They ask for purpose, but are unwilling to endure the preparation. You cannot become who you are meant to be without going through the process that refines you. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow into the person you were created to be. The struggles you face are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to reveal the power within you. Every time you overcome a challenge, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your circumstances. You prove that faith is more powerful than fear. You prove that no matter how difficult the journey gets, you are capable of rising above it. And each time you rise, you step closer to the purpose God has designed for you. Most people see challenges as obstacles, but those who walk in faith see them as preparation. The difference between those who remain stuck and those who step into their destiny is not the absence of struggle, it is the willingness to embrace the struggle as part of the journey. Those who understand this do not run from challenges. They face them with the knowledge that they are being trained for something greater. Life will test you. It will place you in situations that seem unfair, that feel overwhelming, that push you to your limits. But instead of asking why it is happening, ask what it is teaching you. Instead of seeing it as a roadblock, see it as an opportunity. Every challenge is shaping you. Every setback is strengthening you. Every moment of resistance is preparing you for the purpose that awaits. Patience and faith unlock divine timing. The human mind is conditioned to want things immediately. It seeks control, predictability, and instant results. But when God is preparing you for something greater, He operates on His own timeline, not yours. This is where the greatest challenge lies, not in the waiting itself, but in trusting that the waiting has a purpose. When things do not happen as quickly as you expect, doubt begins to creep in. You wonder if you are on the right path, you've misunderstood your calling, if maybe what you desire is never going to come to pass. This is where faith is tested. Faith is not believing when everything is going smoothly. It is believing even when nothing is happening. It is standing firm in the silence, in the uncertainty, in the space where nothing seems to be moving forward. Divine timing is not about delay, it is about alignment. If something has not happened yet, it is because the right pieces have not yet fallen into place. You may feel ready, but God sees beyond your perspective. He knows what still needs to develop within you before you can carry the weight of the blessing you are praying for. He knows what needs to be positioned in your life before the door can open. What looks like stagnation is often unseen preparation. The waiting season is not wasted time. It is a refining period, a time when you are being shaped, strengthened, and prepared for what is coming. There are lessons to be learned in the waiting, lessons of patience, resilience, surrender, and trust. These lessons are necessary because without them, you may receive the blessing but lack the wisdom to sustain it. What good is a door opening if you are not yet strong enough to walk through it with confidence? Faith in divine timing means surrendering your own agenda. It means letting go of the need to force outcomes, to rush the process, to demand answers before they are ready to be revealed. It requires shifting from a mindset of control to a mindset of trust. When you trust that God is working behind the scenes, you stop stressing over timelines. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop questioning whether you are enough, because you know that if it is meant for you, it will come in the right time. Patience does not mean passivity. It does not mean sitting idly and waiting for things to happen. It means continuing to prepare, continuing to grow, continuing to move forward even when there is no visible sign of progress. Just because you do not see results does not mean things are not shifting. Some of the most powerful transformations happen beneath the surface, where no one can see them, where even you may not fully realize what is taking place. Think of a seed planted in the soil. When you plant it, you see nothing on the surface for weeks. There is no sign of movement, no indication that anything is happening. But beneath the soil, the seed is breaking open, roots are forming, and a foundation is being built. If you judge the process too soon, you might assume that nothing is happening and abandon it before it has a chance to grow. But if you trust the process, if you keep watering, keep nurturing, keep believing in time, that seed will break through the surface and become something strong and unshakable. The same is true for your life. The progress you desire may not be visible yet, but that does not mean it is not happening. What God is building in you requires a strong foundation. If the foundation is weak, the structure will not last. That is why he takes his time. He is not just preparing the blessing for you, he is preparing you for the blessing. Impatience leads to frustration, anxiety, and doubt. It makes you question whether what you desire is even possible. But faith reminds you that delay is not denial. Faith reminds you that every moment of waiting is part of a larger plan. Faith reminds you that when things happen in God's time, they happen in a way that is far greater than anything you could have orchestrated on your own. The longer the preparation, the greater the purpose. Some things take time because they are meant to last. Some doors remain closed because you are not meant to walk through them yet. Some answers do not come immediately because you are still in the process of becoming the person who is ready to receive them. The key is to stay faithful in the waiting, to trust that God's timing is always perfect, and to believe that what is meant for you will never pass you by. Obedience to divine direction is the key to unlocking your purpose. When God prepares you for something greater, he will often lead you down paths that do not make sense to the logical mind. He will ask you to step into the unknown, to trust without seeing, to move forward without having all the answers. This is where many people hesitate, where fear creeps in, where doubt begins to question whether they have heard correctly. But obedience is not about understanding every step. It is about trusting that each step is leading you where you are meant to be. God's direction often comes in subtle ways. It may be a strong feeling in your spirit, an unshakable thought that keeps returning, an opportunity that appears unexpectedly, or even a closed door that redirects you. Too often, people resist these signs because they do not align with their plans. They want certainty before they act, proof before they believe, security before they move. But divine purpose does not work that way. It requires faith first, action first, obedience first, then understanding follows. When God calls you to something greater, he will stretch you beyond your comfort zone. He will ask you to release things that no longer serve you, to let go of relationships that hold you back, to walk away from familiar places that keep you small. This process is not easy. It requires surrender. It requires trust in something bigger than yourself. It requires the willingness to follow even when the path is unclear. Think of Abraham in the scriptures. He was called to leave everything familiar, to step into a land he had never seen, to trust that God was leading him to something greater. There was no roadmap, no guarantee, no certainty, only faith and obedience. And because he obeyed, he stepped into the fullness of his purpose. The same principle applies to you. The greater the calling, the greater the requirement of trust. Obedience is not just about big life-altering decisions. It is also about the small, daily choices that align you with your higher purpose. It is in the way you handle challenges, in the way you respond to setbacks, in the way you remain faithful, even when nothing seems to be happening. Every act of obedience strengthens your faith. Every step of trust builds a deeper connection with divine guidance. The problem is that many people hesitate. They hear the call but delay their response. They sense the nudge but ignore it. They wait for more confirmation, more signs, more clarity before taking action. But faith does not operate on proof, it operates on trust. If you wait for perfect conditions, you may miss the very opportunities that were meant to propel you forward. If you wait until you feel fully ready, you may never take the step. God does not require perfection, he requires willingness. He does not ask for certainty, he asks for trust. He does not need you to have everything figured out, he needs you to be obedient to the next step. The journey is not about Knowing every detail, it is about taking one step at a time, following the direction given, and allowing each step to reveal the next. Obedience also requires letting go of fear. Fear will try to convince you that stepping into the unknown is too risky, that following divine direction will lead to failure, that you are not capable or worthy of the calling placed upon you. But fear is a liar. It keeps you stuck. It keeps you small. It keeps you from experiencing the fullness of what is meant for you. The moment you choose obedience over fear, you step into a new level of faith. God does not lead you without providing for you. If He calls you to something, He will equip you for it. If He asks you to let go of something, it is because He has something greater in store. If He places a vision in your heart, it is because it is meant to come to pass. Your only responsibility is to trust and obey. The path may not always be easy. There will be moments of doubt, moments of difficulty, moments when you wonder if you are truly on the right path. But every time you choose obedience, every time you say yes to divine direction, every time you step forward in faith, you align yourself with a greater plan. You open yourself up to blessings you cannot yet see, opportunities that have not yet been revealed, and a purpose far greater than you could have imagined. Challenges are the refining fire that strengthens your character. When God prepares you for something greater, He does not place you in comfort. He places you in situations that stretch you, test you, and reveal who you truly are. Growth does not happen in ease. It happens in resistance. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified in fire, and the strongest warriors are forged in the midst of battle. Difficulties are not obstacles. They are opportunities. Every challenge you face is designed to prepare you for the next level. The very struggles that feel overwhelming today are shaping you into the person who can handle the blessings of tomorrow. Without resistance, there is no strength. Without hardship, there is no wisdom. Without trials, there is no transformation. When you are in the midst of difficulty, it is easy to question why it is happening. You may wonder why God allows certain setbacks, why doors seem to close, why you face opposition when you are trying to do the right thing. But what if the challenges are not meant to break you, but to build you? What if they are not punishments, but preparations? What if every struggle is a lesson, every setback a redirection, every delay a moment of refining? Resistance creates resilience. Think of a tree standing in the midst of a storm. If the wind never blew against it, if it never faced adversity, its roots would remain shallow. But because it endures strong winds, because it withstands the storm, its roots grow deeper, its foundation stronger. It does not fall when the storm comes, it stands firm. The same is true for you. Every challenge you face is deepening your roots, strengthening your faith, solidifying your character. Difficult times expose what is within you. When everything is easy, it is simple to remain positive, to have faith, to trust in the process. But when the pressure increases, when obstacles arise, when things do not go according to plan, that is, when your true character is revealed, do you give up or do you persevere? Do you complain or do you adapt? Do you shrink back in fear or do you rise with faith? The way you respond to challenges determines how quickly you grow through them. God does not allow trials without purpose. Every struggle carries a lesson, every hardship a hidden gift. Some lessons are about patience, teaching you to trust in divine timing. Some are about strength, showing you how resilient you truly are. Some are about faith, forcing you to believe, even when there is no visible evidence of progress. Some are about letting go, removing things from your life that no longer serve your highest purpose. Every challenge refines you, molds you, and transforms you into the person capable of walking into your greater calling. Adversity reveals your weaknesses so they can be strengthened. It exposes your fears so they can be conquered. It brings out your doubts so they can be replaced with faith. The greatest lessons often come from the hardest experiences. The people who have the most wisdom, the most strength, the deepest faith, they are the ones who have endured the most. They have faced battles that should have broken them, but instead those battles built them. They have experienced loss, rejection, and hardship, but instead of being defeated, they used those experiences to rise stronger. Your response to challenges determines your growth. If you resist the lessons, if you complain about the process, if you try to avoid the struggle, you remain stagnant. But if you embrace the challenge, if you seek the lesson within it, if you allow it to shape you rather than break you, you emerge transformed. Every great leader, every person of purpose, every individual who has made an impact, they have all been through refining fires. They have all walked through difficult seasons that shaped them into who they were meant to be. What you go through today is equipping you for what is coming next. The strength you develop in struggle will be the strength you need to carry the blessings ahead. The lessons you learn now will guide you when you step into greater responsibility. The patience, resilience, and faith you build in adversity will be the very things that sustain you when you reach the next level. You may not see it now, but every challenge is part of the preparation. Every hardship is refining you for something greater. Growth requires separation. When God prepares you for a bigger purpose, He will remove certain people, habits, and environments from your life. This process is often painful Because human nature clings to familiarity. It is easier to stay where it is comfortable, to hold on to relationships that feel safe, to keep doing what has always been done. But true growth cannot happen in places that no longer align with your destiny. What once served you may no longer be meant for you. What once supported you may now be limiting you. Separation is necessary for elevation. Eagles do not soar in flocks, they rise alone. When an eagle reaches a certain stage of maturity, it leaves behind the nest that once sheltered it. It does not stay in the comfort of its past, it spreads its wings and flies to greater heights. The same principle applies to you. There will be times when God calls you to step away from certain environments, to distance yourself from influences that no longer serve your purpose, to leave behind relationships that are holding you back. This is not rejection, it is redirection. One of the most difficult aspects of growth is outgrowing people. You may find that the people you were once close to no longer align with your mindset. Conversations that once felt fulfilling may now feel empty. Activities that once excited you may now feel meaningless. This does not mean you are better than others, it simply means you are evolving. When your mindset shifts, your circle must shift too. When your vision expands, the company you keep must expand with it. Holding on to people who do not share your growth will only slow you down. Sometimes God will remove people from your life, not because they are bad, but because they are not meant to go where you are going. Some people are seasonal. They were placed in your life for a time to teach you something, to support you in a particular season, to walk with you for a certain distance. But not everyone is meant to walk with you forever. Holding on to relationships that have expired will only keep you stuck. Letting go does not mean abandoning love. It does not mean forgetting the people who have been part of your journey. It simply means understanding that some connections are not meant to last forever. Love them from a distance. Bless them in your heart. But do not let attachment to the past keep you from stepping into your future. The process of separation can feel lonely. When you are in transition, it may feel like you are walking alone. The people who once understood you may no longer relate to you. The conversations you once enjoyed may now seem unfulfilling. The spaces you once thrived in may now feel limiting. This is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that you are being prepared for something greater. Growth often requires isolation. The caterpillar goes into a cocoon alone before it emerges as a butterfly. It does not carry anything from its previous form into its new one. The transformation happens in solitude. Separation is also about shedding old habits. The mindset that got you here will not take you there. The patterns that once kept you comfortable will now feel restrictive. If you want to step into your full potential, you must be willing to let go of anything that no longer aligns with your purpose. This includes self-doubt, negative thinking, procrastination, fear of failure, and any habit that keeps you from becoming who you were meant to be. Sometimes the biggest battle is not with the external world, but with yourself. The fear of stepping into the unknown, the fear of leaving behind what is familiar, the fear of being misunderstood, all of these can hold you back. But you cannot step into the new while clinging to the old. You cannot embrace your future while resisting change. You cannot grow while staying attached to what is no longer meant for you. Separation is not punishment, it is preparation. When God removes something, He is making room for something greater. When He closes a door, He is leading you toward one that is meant for you. The spaces that once felt comfortable but now feel limiting are signs that you are being called to a higher level. Trust the process. Trust that what is meant for you will align with your purpose. Trust that separation is not about loss, it is about making space for something greater. Obedience to divine direction is essential when God is preparing you for something greater. Often the path God lays before you will not make logical sense. It may require you to step into the unknown, to move forward without clear instructions, to trust without tangible evidence. This is where faith is tested. It is easy to follow directions when everything is clear, when the outcome is certain, when the plan is visible. But when God calls you to something bigger, He often provides only the next step, not the entire roadmap. Faith is not about seeing the whole picture, it is about trusting the one who designed it. God does not reveal everything at once because growth happens in the process. If you knew all the challenges ahead, you might hesitate. If you saw the full extent of the journey, you might doubt your ability to endure. So instead, He leads you step by step, giving you just enough light for the next move. It is in these moments of uncertainty that true faith is built. Obedience often requires discomfort. God may ask you to let go of something you want to hold on to. He may lead you away from familiar places, away from what feels safe, away from what you have always known. This can be unsettling, but growth does not happen in comfort. When God is preparing you, He will stretch you beyond your perceived limits. He will push you into situations where faith is your only option. These moments refine you, shape your character, and prepare you for the responsibility that comes with the next level. Sometimes obedience means taking action before you feel ready, waiting for perfect conditions, waiting for fear to disappear, waiting for a clear sign. These are delays disguised as caution. If you know in your spirit that God is leading you in a certain direction, hesitation will only slow your progress. The right time is often the moment you decide to move. When you step forward in faith, even with uncertainty, doors begin to open. Clarity comes in motion. Understanding follows obedience. God does not need you to have all the answers. He needs you to trust Him. When He calls you to something greater, He has already equipped you for it, even if you do not see it yet. The skills, the wisdom, the strength, they are already within you, waiting to be activated through experience. Growth is not about having everything figured out. It is about being willing to learn along the way. Those who walk in obedience step into their purpose not because they are fully prepared, but because they are fully surrendered. Resistance often accompanies divine instruction. When you are moving in obedience, do not be surprised when obstacles arise. Challenges are not indicators that you are on the wrong path. They are confirmations that you are stepping into something significant. The enemy does not fight what is stagnant. He fights what is advancing. If you are facing resistance, if you are experiencing setbacks, if you are struggling with doubt, it may be because you are on the verge of breakthrough. God's timing does not always align with human expectations. There may be seasons of waiting, seasons of preparation, seasons where nothing seems to be happening. These are the moments when faith is tested the most. Will you trust when you do not see results? Will you believe even when nothing changes? Will you remain faithful even when doors do not open? The waiting season is not wasted. It is a time of refining, strengthening, and aligning you with what is coming next. Every act of obedience is a seed planted for future harvest. When you step into alignment with God's plan, even the smallest actions carry great significance. A conversation, a decision, a single moment of courage, these can set the foundation for what is to come. What seems insignificant now may be the very thing that shifts your entire destiny. Those who trust, who follow, who surrender to the process, they are the ones who step into the fullness of what God has prepared for them. Transformation requires breaking old patterns. When God prepares you for a bigger purpose, He does not simply add new things to your life. He removes what no longer serves you. This process is uncomfortable because it requires confronting the habits, beliefs, and behaviors that have kept you stuck. You cannot step into a new season while holding on to an old mindset. The way you think, the way you speak, the way you act, all of it must shift to align with the greater calling ahead. Breaking old patterns begins with awareness. Many people operate on autopilot, repeating the same cycles without realizing it. They respond to challenges the same way, hold on to limiting beliefs, and make choices based on past experiences rather than future possibilities. But growth requires consciousness. It demands that you recognize what is holding you back, that you identify the thoughts and habits that are keeping you small. Only when you become aware can you begin to change. God will often disrupt your routine to get your attention. He will allow discomfort, challenges, and unexpected changes to shake you out of old ways of thinking. When everything is smooth, people rarely question their patterns, but when life becomes difficult, when plans fall apart, when circumstances shift, that is when you are forced to reevaluate. These moments are not designed to break you, they are designed to wake you up. They are opportunities to reset, to let go of what is no longer working, and to create new ways of being. Letting go of old patterns requires unlearning. Many of the beliefs that shape behavior were adopted early in life, beliefs about success, about worth, about what is possible. Some of these beliefs were inherited from families, shaped by culture, or reinforced by past experiences. But just because something has always been a certain way does not mean it must remain that way. If you believe that success requires struggle, that you are not worthy of abundance, that you are limited by your past, these beliefs will dictate your reality. To step into a bigger purpose, you must replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Reprogramming the mind takes consistent effort. It is not enough to recognize negative patterns. You must actively replace them. If your default reaction to setbacks is doubt, train yourself to respond with faith. If your habit is to procrastinate, discipline yourself to take action. If fear has been your guide, make courage your new standard. The mind is like a muscle, it strengthens with repetition. The more you reinforce new beliefs and behaviors, the more natural they become. The environment you are in plays a significant role in your transformation. It is difficult to change while remaining in the same surroundings that created old patterns. If you are surrounded by negativity, by people who do not support your growth, by distractions that keep you from focusing on your purpose, transformation will be a struggle. Changing your environment is sometimes necessary for changing yourself. This does not always mean physically moving. It can mean shifting the conversations you engage in, the content you consume, the influences you allow in your life. The right environment nurtures growth, while the wrong one reinforces stagnation. Breaking old patterns also requires perseverance. The mind resists change. Even when you decide to shift, old habits will try to pull you back. There will be moments of doubt, moments when it feels easier to return to what is familiar. This is why commitment is essential. Growth is not a one-time decision. It is a daily practice. Each day, you must choose to align with your higher purpose. Each day, you must reject the limitations of the past and step into the possibilities of the future. The process of breaking old patterns is not just about personal growth, it is about aligning with the divine plan for your life. God does not call you to a greater purpose without first refining you. The person you were before cannot carry the weight of what is ahead. The habits that once felt comfortable will not serve you in the next chapter. Every challenge, every lesson, every change is shaping you into who you are meant to be. Transformation is not just about reaching a destination, it is about becoming the person who is capable of sustaining that destiny.